you certainly would want to know to prevent it from happening again. And yet our president stonewalled an investigation for over 2 years. I find that peculiar, very peculiar.
Did you support the invasion of Afghanistan?
At the time, yes. The invasion of Iraq, no. That's what first made me a skeptic when they announced they were going into Iraq, because I said even by their definition of what happened, there wasn't one Iraqi involved. Why would we attack Iraq? It's kind of like Pearl Harbor. The Japanese attacked us at Pearl Harbor. Well, imagine if we'd have decided to attack Korea. After all, they're Asian too, aren't they? Well, that seems to be the mindset we have. It doesn't matter who we attack as long as they're Muslim.
Why did you support the invasion of Afghanistan at the time?
Because I believed what they told me.
And what changed your mind?
When they started to invade Iraq. Because Iraq had nothing to do with it. And it was proven even by your 9/11 Commission. They came out and said Iraq had nothing to do with 9/11. So clearly there was another agenda here that was going on. Something completely different from what we were told. And now we've been involved in this war, taken to war by chicken hawks. You know what a chicken hawk is?
Yeah, I know the phrase.
What is it?
It's a belief that there are people who are hawks about the military that are too chicken to participate in the military.
No, you got it close. A chicken hawk is someone when it's your time to go serve and go to war, you're chicken.
That's what I meant.
But then you come back when you're 50 and you send everybody else's kids to war.
People refer to Dick Cheney that way.
I refer to George Bush that way too. Because he also took the National Guard and turned them into a frontline combat unit rather than having a draft. Well, when he was in the National Guard, he signed a piece of paper that he wouldn't even serve overseas. I guess he was protecting Dallas from the North Vietnamese Air Force.
Governor, what will you be speaking on tonight? These issues?
Yes. I will ask my questions. I don't believe that you're wrong today. If I am, then this isn't the United States I want to live in. If you're not allowed to ask questions, I believe you're protected by the First Amendment. And I was trained, I'm a former Navy frogman, and I'm well trained in demolition. I have an expertise in it. Ours was a little bit different. We don't do demolition to bring buildings down like they do today, because the demolition for that is to make sure there's no collateral damage. When we blow something up, we want to ensure there's collateral damage. That's the difference. We figure it out on the slide rule, and then we had a standard rule when in doubt overload.
Do you believe in the multiple collapse theory that a lot of engineers have put forth as to why the towers in Building 7 collapsed?
No.
Why?
I don't believe it at all.
Well, they're engineers.
Well, they're engineers. Well, then why aren't we getting a warning, sir? No, why aren't they warning the country and taking away all smoking in skyscrapers, take away hot plates, anything that could start a fire? And I challenge you, the next time a building has to fall and come down, let's not bring in the demo people. Let's just light it on fire and see if that building collapses to the ground.
I believe what the engineers have said is that the heat of the fire, not a fire from a cigarette or a hot plate, but the intensity of the heat and the blast that knocked out. I'm just telling you what they said.
Okay, let me counter that.
Are you going to let me finish? Or
no, I'm going to take it one at a time. The heat, okay, if you looked at the smoke, any firefighter will tell you when the smoke gets darker and thicker, the fire is cooling. It's not getting hotter. The billows of smoke at 9/11 were getting progressively darker and thicker. That means the fire is not getting hotter, it's cooling. And you're telling me that jet fuel, which is 4/5 kerosene, which doesn't burn hot, propane burns way hotter. If you use your expert's analogy...
They're not my experts.
Well, the ones you say, well then, let's do it on a camp stove. Let's turn the flames on the grill for 2 hours, let it get it all hot, put a big heavy can or pot on it, well the grill should collapse then, shouldn't it?
The BTUs are lower in a camp stove.
Okay, in buildings like 9/11, the trades, don't they use fire-resistant carpet? Don't they use fire-resistant? That's mandatory in all skyscrapers.
Those engineers also said that the force of the blast knocked off the fire retardant from a lot of the support structure.
And you believe that?
I'm not an engineer.
I'm just asking you if you believe that. Does common sense tell you that's true?
I don't know if it's conclusively true or untrue.
Okay,
I'm not an engineer.
Building 7 was not struck by a plane. What knocked off the asbestos in that building?
I'm not an engineer. I don't know.
I mean, what I'm asking you, common sense. You're telling me that the engineers said the blast of the plane. Well, Building 7 was never hit by a plane, and it fell in a little over 6 seconds. You don't find that peculiar?
I don't know if it was structurally built the same way.
What about the first NIST engineer that was fired because through all of his analysis he came up with the wrong answer?
Yeah. What about him?
Governor, what do you
Got
make
fired.
of what do you make of Flight 93 in Shanksville?
Which one's Flight 93?
The one that went into the field.
Well, I found it very disturbing that they said they found pieces of it scattered for 5 miles. I can't believe a plane striking the ground. I could see pieces flying for maybe 500 yards. But how did they find pieces of it 5 miles from the crash site?
So what are you suggesting happened with that plane?
I don't know.
The official story.
You're asking me. I'm not an engineer. I'm going to use his answer.
If you don't have evidence for any of this occurring, then what are we talking about? Is there any risk that this is causing more harm for the families of the victims 7 years later?
Then why are the victims asking for a new investigation?
I'm a family member, and
if this
I
is
agree with
causing them harm, why are all the victims demanding another investigation?
All of them?
The great majority, a great many of them are. I can't state all of them. How many does it take? Why don't you guys try doing your damn jobs?
But you're a politician.
I'm not a politician. I'm a statesman.
You're a politician.
No, I'm not.
You're a former governor. That's
not a
definition of
politician. No, it
You ran
isn't.
for elected office.
No, it is
You were
not.
elected.
It is not. I'm a statesman. A politician makes it a career. I do one term and go back to where I came from. That's good. I'm a statesman. Woo! It's theirs too. They're applauding, aren't they? God, I love to fight with you.
So the dictionary
God,
should be rewritten.
you guys are better than the WWE.
Well, that was fake. We know that.
Really?
Yeah.
And you're not?
I'm not fake. Question. I don't have stages.
Well, then tell my new hip and my back that it's fake.
So all of it's completely real and
No,
kind of like
it's not
9/11.
fake. When I'm body slammed, are you imagining it? When I got body slammed, did you imagine that?
Nobody ever broke
Oh,
their fall?
then it's not fake, then, is it?
Nobody ever broke their fall when they body slammed you?
We're at the memorial.
How
here.
does
We're
that
not-
determine
He
fake?
brought up WWE, not me.
No, I brought it up because you guys are, I'd rather fight with you than them. You guys are even tougher. Because you guys won't even apply common sense to anything. You guys are my government, right or wrong. My country, right or wrong, right? Right?
Governor,
Right.
you're suggesting a conspiracy that involved hundreds.
I'm not suggesting anything. I'm questioning. I'm doing your job. I'm asking questions
under
like
your theory,
reporters because reporters won't do it.
This would involve-
So since the fact reporters won't
He's
do it,
trying
I
to
have
ask
to
a
do it.
question right now, but you're not letting him.
It would involve a conspiracy with hundreds of government employees, the media, people on planes.
Not
Who knows?
necessarily.
How does that work, and why would they all be in on this? For what reason?
Well, for what reason?
Yeah.
Have we changed our foreign policy completely? We are now a first strike nation. We will now attack you before you do something. That we now torture people in war. You guys accept what the government says and you don't question anything more.
We never questioned Abu Ghraib. We never questioned weapons of mass destruction. We never questioned any of those things.
I don't know, did you?
Yeah, I did stories about it. You didn't read
Where are they?
any of the newspapers?
Where are they?
You never read stories about weapons of mass destruction not being found
Like what?
in the national media?
What's the matter with that?
Exactly. There were stories done about it. I just want
After
to
we're
point
there.
it out that
No,
we
that's
have
not true.
ATAR,
That's not true.
Arizona Republic, and Ken are the ones, or Channel 5 are the ones that are being critical of this man asking questions. I'm good. Go ahead.
How come I can't ask questions?
You can. And we can ask you questions too. This isn't a one-way conversation, it's a dialogue.
What would you say to citizens who are trying to learn more about 9/11 and be more critical of events?
I tell citizens to exercise the rights that document that we used to have, that our government was based upon, the Constitution and the Bill of Rights that's been really trashed today. I would tell them that hopefully they're still protected by it, and always follow what Thomas Jefferson said, dissension's the greatest form of patriotism. If you're apathetic and you're not involved with your government and you don't hold their feet to the fire, you will get bad government, guaranteed. But if you hold their feet to the fire, if you ask questions, and if you're involved, then you will get good government.
Governor, do you have any thoughts on the presidential race?
Only that I won't vote for either candidate. I'll vote third party, as always, because to me, it's kind of embarrassing that when Abraham Lincoln ran 160 years ago, we had 3 choices, and yet today our population has increased how much, and we're down to Coke and Pepsi.
So who does that mean you're supporting? Third party?
Anybody. Anybody that's not a member of the Democratic or Republican